Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived two princesses. They were sisters, born on the same day. Yet, they were completely different from each other. The elder princess was named Leora. The younger princess was named Seraphina. Leora was not considered beautiful by the people. Her face was plain and her features were unusual. Many even called her ugly behind her back. But her heart was full of kindness and courage. She always helped the poor and the weak. On the other hand, Seraphina was breathtakingly beautiful. Her face shone like the moon in the night sky. People admired her beauty wherever she went. But inside, her heart was filled with greed. She cared only about wealth, power, and admiration. She loved expensive jewels and golden dresses. She ignored the cries of the poor. She believed beauty made her superior to everyone. The king and queen loved both daughters equally. But they often worried about Seraphina's nature. One day, the king announced a grand festival. People from all lands were invited. There would be games, music, and celebrations. But most importantly, a test of character. The king wanted to choose the future queen. He believed true beauty came from within. Both princesses were excited for different reasons. Seraphina saw it as a chance to shine. Leora saw it as a chance to serve people. The festival day finally arrived. The palace was decorated with flowers and lights. Music echoed through the grand halls. People cheered and danced happily. Seraphina entered wearing a dazzling golden gown. Everyone gasped at her beauty. She smiled proudly, enjoying the attention. Leora entered quietly in a simple dress. Hardly anyone noticed her. But she smiled gently at everyone she passed. The first test began. The test was to help the needy in the city. Each princess was given a bag of gold coins. They were told to use it wisely. Seraphina walked through the streets with pride. Beggars approached her for help. She ignored most of them. She gave a few coins only when people were watching. She wanted to appear kind, not be kind. Meanwhile, Leora walked through the same streets. She listened to every person's story. She gave coins to those truly in need. She bought food for hungry children. She helped an old woman cross the road. She even gave away her own jewelry. By sunset, Leora had nothing left. But her heart was full of peace. Seraphina still had most of her gold. She was proud of saving it. The king silently observed both daughters. The second test began the next day. The test was about bravery. A dangerous forest lay near the kingdom. Strange sounds came from within it. The princesses were asked to enter it. They had to face their fears. Seraphina hesitated but agreed for fame. Leora stepped forward without fear. They entered the forest together. The forest was dark and eerie. The wind whispered through the trees. Suddenly, they heard a cry for help. It was coming from deep inside. Seraphina froze in fear. She wanted to run back. Leora moved forward bravely. She followed the sound. They found a wounded boy trapped under a tree. Leora rushed to help him. She lifted the heavy branch with effort. Seraphina stood back, afraid to get hurt. Leora comforted the boy. She tore her dress to bandage his wounds. She carried him out of the forest. Seraphina followed reluctantly. The people praised Leora's bravery. The king's eyes filled with pride. Seraphina felt jealous inside. She couldn't understand why people praised Leora. She believed beauty was everything. But something was changing in the kingdom. The people started seeing Leora differently. They saw her kindness and courage. They respected her deeply. The final test was announced. It was the test of truth. A magical mirror was placed in the hall. It revealed a person's true beauty. Not outer beauty, but inner beauty. Seraphina smiled confidently. She believed she would shine the brightest. Leora stepped back, unsure. She had never been called beautiful. The king asked Seraphina to go first. She stood before the mirror proudly. The mirror glowed softly. But then, something strange happened. Her reflection began to change. Her beautiful face turned dull. Darkness surrounded her image. The crowd gasped in shock. Seraphina stepped back in fear. She couldn't believe what she saw. The mirror revealed her greed and selfishness. Tears filled her eyes. Then it was Leora's turn. She hesitated but stepped forward. The mirror shone brightly. Her reflection transformed beautifully. Her face glowed with light. She looked radiant and angelic. The crowd was amazed. They saw her true beauty. The king smiled proudly. He had found his answer. Leora was declared the future queen. The people cheered loudly. Seraphina stood silently. Her heart was filled with regret. For the first time, she understood. Beauty was not about appearance. Days passed after the festival. Seraphina stayed in her room. She avoided everyone. She thought deeply about her actions. She remembered every selfish choice. She remembered ignoring the poor. She remembered her jealousy. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She realized she was truly empty inside. Meanwhile, Leora continued helping people. She treated everyone with love. She never felt proud or superior. One day, Seraphina came to Leora. She looked different, calmer and humble. She knelt before her sister. She asked for forgiveness. Leora lifted her gently. She hugged her warmly. She had never hated her sister. She believed people could change. From that day on, Seraphina changed. She started helping the poor. She shared her wealth generously. She learned to listen to others. Slowly, her heart became kind. People began to respect her too. Not for her beauty, but her actions. The kingdom became peaceful and happy. Leora ruled with wisdom and compassion. Seraphina supported her with loyalty. Together, they became symbols of change. One represented inner beauty. The other represented transformation. Years later, people told their story. They taught their children a lesson. True beauty lies within the heart. It shines through kindness and courage. It cannot be seen with eyes alone. It must be felt with the soul. The sisters proved this truth forever. Even travelers from distant lands came to hear their story. They spread the message across kingdoms. Many people changed their ways. Greedy hearts became generous. Proud people became humble. The story became a legend. A legend of truth and beauty. Leora's name became a symbol of courage. Seraphina's name became a symbol of change. And the kingdom flourished forever. In the end, both sisters found happiness. Not in beauty or wealth, but in love, kindness, and truth. And that is the real meaning of beauty. Beauty is not in the face. It is in the heart. It is in actions and choices. It is in courage and compassion. And that is what truly matters. But the story of the two princesses did not truly end there. Life had more lessons waiting for them. One winter, a terrible storm struck the kingdom. Snow covered the lands and people suffered greatly. Food became scarce and many were afraid. The palace remained warm and safe. But Leora could not ignore the suffering outside. She decided to visit the villages herself. Her advisors warned her of danger. Yet, she chose to go anyway. Seraphina watched her sister leave. This time, she did not hesitate. She followed Leora into the storm. The freezing winds were harsh and cruel. Villagers were struggling to survive. Leora distributed food and warm clothes. She comforted the sick and the weak. Seraphina worked beside her tirelessly. She gave away her expensive cloaks. She no longer cared about luxury. A small child approached Serafina. He smiled and held her hand tightly. "Thank you for saving us," he said softly. Serafina's eyes filled with tears. No compliment about her beauty had ever felt like this. For the first time, she felt truly valued. Not for her face, but for her heart. That moment changed her forever. The storm lasted for many days. But hope remained alive. The sisters stayed with the people. They shared their struggles and pain. Slowly, the storm began to fade. The sun returned with golden light. The kingdom started to heal again. Crops began to grow once more. People celebrated their survival. They praised both princesses equally. This time, Serafina did not feel jealous. She felt proud of her sister and herself. One evening, the king called them both. He looked older, but wiser than ever. "You both have learned the greatest truth," he said. "A queen must not only rule, but feel." Leora smiled gently. Serafina bowed her head respectfully. The king then made a surprising decision. He declared both daughters as rulers. They would govern together as queens. The kingdom rejoiced at this news. Under their rule, justice and kindness spread everywhere. No one went hungry or unheard. The rich helped the poor willingly. Greed slowly disappeared from hearts. The kingdom became a place of harmony. Years passed like a beautiful dream. The sisters remained close and loving. They never forgot their past lessons. They always chose kindness over pride. And courage over fear. One day, a young girl asked Leora a question. "My queen, what makes someone truly beautiful?" Leora smiled warmly. She gently held the girl's hand. "Beauty is what you do for others," she said. "It is in your kindness and your bravery." The girl then looked at Serafina. "And what do you think?" she asked. Serafina smiled softly. "I once believed beauty was everything," she replied. "But I was wrong. True beauty comes from a pure heart. And anyone can have it." The girl smiled happily. She understood the lesson deeply. The story of the two queens spread far and wide. It reached distant lands and hearts. People began to change their thinking. They valued kindness over appearance. They valued courage over perfection. The magical mirror still remained in the palace. But it was never used again. Because people no longer needed it. They had learned to see with their hearts. And that was the greatest magic of all. Leora and Serafina often walked together in the gardens. They laughed like they did as children. Free from jealousy and pride. Bound by love and understanding. Their bond became unbreakable. As years turned into decades, their legend grew stronger. Even after they were gone, their story lived on. Parents told their children about the two sisters. Teachers shared their lessons in schools. Artists painted their journey. Poets wrote songs about them. Their story became eternal. A reminder for all generations. That beauty fades, but kindness remains. That courage shines brighter than any jewel. And that even the most flawed heart can change. If given the chance and the will. The kingdom they ruled remained peaceful forever. A place where hearts mattered. More than faces. A place where true beauty lived in every soul. And so, their story became a guiding light. For anyone lost in pride or greed. For anyone searching for true meaning. Because in the end, true beauty is the goodness within you. Crown Sparkle's broken heart.